What the fuck? Hey gamers, what's going on? Hey, my last two videos apparently were kind of negative. I didn't mean to be negative. I just record my game experience. It just so happens I got surprised by a few things that didn't sit right with me. And I don't hardly edit any of these videos, so they're video journals of me playing the game, and I know my guild members and other people watch these things, and it is what it is. But sometimes I forget I shouldn't be so verbally expressive. But I mean, what you're watching is true. I mean, this is my real reactions to the game, and but I don't want people thinking that the game sucks and you shouldn't play it anymore. That was not my intent. I love this stupid game. It's my kind of game. I've been playing it for, I guess, about a year. What month is this? I don't even know. It's close to a year. I started playing it last year, the middle of last year. And so anyway, it's irrelevant. I was looking for a game that I could chill out in the evenings, if I wanted to, you know, get more aggressive, then so be it. But my primary intent was to find a game that, after a long day's work, I get all the day stuff done, I could sit down and enter a cool little fantasy world. And I chose Albion Online. And I love this game. It's a cool game. And yeah, they keep changing stuff and adding stuff, and sometimes it's for the better, and sometimes the intent may have been better, but uh, may not have come out quite the way they had expected it to. This stuff like this happens in a game like this. So I wrote a little story about this game and my experiences with it, things I've learned and discovered. And so I'm going to half-ass play the game while I read my little story to you. Okay? I might not be able to play at all. So, about this game, I am a solo player, and I do a tiny little bit of group content, but honestly, I don't do much. It's just hard to get groups together. It's half the time, I mean, there's plenty to do solo in this game.
Looking for safe passage?
I mean, there's a lot. Like, I get anywhere between 2 to 3 hours of playtime in the evening if I'm lucky and I want to sacrifice some sleep. And between just grinding to level up your gear, and I've got a little farm island over here. I got several islands, but I tell you what, this one little island here keeps me busy. And my crops aren't ready. Damn, they won't be ready for 8 hours? Eh. So anyway, let me start my story. Albion Online. It's a sprawling sandbox MMORPG. It presents a dynamic world where the interplay of risk and reward defines much of the player experience. For the solo adventurer, particularly those new to the realm or those who prefer a less volatile journey, the Royal Continent's blue and yellow zones stand as a foundational environments. These designated safe areas are crucial for acclimating to game mechanics, fostering character development, and accumulating wealth without the constant looming threat of full loot player versus player PvP combat. The Royal Continent is the starting point for all new players that want to enter this game, and is uniquely structured to include blue, yellow, and red zones, but notably excludes the high-stakes black zones, which are confined to the Outlands. There's a reason why they're so far away. It's designed to protect you players. So, leveling up, you want to go to the blue and yellow zones until you feel comfortable, get established, get you some income coming in, find your way in this world. So, in that respect, my discussion is about solo playing in the safe zones. So, welcome to Albion's Safe Havens, blue and yellow zones. The core appeal of safe zones lies in their forgiving death mechanics, which fundamentally reshape the player's approach to risk. In blue zones, should a character's health points be depleted by environmental monsters, the consequence is merely a knockdown. This results in a minimum 5% durability loss on equipped items, but critically, no valuable inventory or equipment loot is dropped. So you get a repair bill. This absence of loot loss upon defeat is a cornerstone of the safety that these zones, the blue and the yellow zones, provide to sprawling new players, allowing new players to explore and learn without significant setbacks. That's what the yellow and blue zones are for. That's your training wheels when you get in this game. The yellow zones introduce a carefully managed layer of PvP interaction designed to offer a taste of combat without the severe repercussions found in more dangerous territories. Even if a player is overcome by another player in a yellow zone, the outcome is just merely a knockdown rather than a full death and losing your gear. That doesn't happen there. You get a repair bill. While equipped items will still incur a 5% durability loss, and a small amount of system-generated silver may appear on the ground, the player's inventory and equipped gear remain entirely secure. This unique design encourages players to experiment with different builds and combat strategies, providing a low-stakes arena for PvP practice before venturing into the full loot red and black zones. The understanding that valuable possessions are retained irrespective of defeat by monsters or other players significantly lowers the barrier to entry for solo players. This environment fosters a robust learning and growth trajectory as players are more inclined to venture out, test new equipment combinations, and engage with diverse content without the pervasive anxiety of constantly losing your hard-earned progress. While the term safe is broadly applied to these zones, safe zones, yellow zones introduce a nuanced PvP element that subtly prepares players for the complexities of higher risk environments. The mechanics of optional flagging, the reputation penalties for attacking unflagged players, and the presence of unrestricted PvP subzones, like treasure sites that automatically flag participants, create a graduated risk system. This means that while not entirely devoid of player conflict, yellow zones allow solo players to gradually acclimate to PvP dynamics Learn to identify potential threats such as visually identifying flagged players and understand basic combat engagement rules without the devastating consequences of full loop death. This serves as an invaluable training ground, bridging the gap between absolute sanctuary and the unforgiving nature of Albion's more perilous regions. So, see, it's easy to get stuck just playing in the safe zones. There's nothing wrong with that. Some players, probably a lot of players, are perfectly content and staying in these blue and yellow zones. I've been pretty much staying in them for almost a year now. But I will admit, as my wealth has grown and my strength and my gear levels, and I find myself venturing out into the risky areas. I've learned a lot about the game. I've got a little bit of experience. I still suck as a PvP player, but what can you expect? It's just the way it is. Do a little fishing while I'm talking. The safe zone fundamentals. It's your sanctuary explained. The royal continent is meticulously structured to guide players through escalating levels of risk and reward. As new characters begin their journeys on its outer edges, they encounter the safest territories, which gradually transition into more challenging zones towards the continent's core. Blue zones, the ultimate safe haven. Blue zones stand as the epitome of safety within Albion Online. For any player not actively engaged in faction warfare, these areas are completely devoid of player versus player combat. This ensures that exploration, resource gathering, and monster combat can be undertaken with absolute peace of mind, free from the interference of other players. The only exception to this rule occurs if a player chooses to faction flag, aligning themselves with one of the royal cities for faction warfare. Even in this specific scenario, should an opposing faction member defeat the player, the outcome is merely a knockdown, and no items are lost. If a player's health drops to 0 from battling open world monsters, the result is a simple knockdown accompanied by a minor 5% durability loss on their gear. Crucially, the player's inventory and equipped items remain entirely safe. These zones are purpose-built for low-risk activities, making them an ideal environment for new adventurers to grasp the fundamental mechanics of the game, including basic combat and the intricacies of resource gathering without the constant worry of losing hard-earned loot. In terms of resources, blue zones can yield materials up to Tier 4 level, depending on the specific region. A notable advantage for early game progression is the remarkably fast respawn rate of lower tier resources. Tier 2, Tier 3, and Tier 4 in blue zones, with some reappearing within a mere 30 seconds of being depleted, facilitating efficient early game gathering. Let's just go hang out on a bridge. So now, the yellow zones. Yellow zones represent a deliberate step up from the absolute safety of the blue zones, offering a moderate risk environment that presents increased challenges and the potential for greater rewards. Player versus player combat is an option here in the yellow zones, but it operates under strict regulations. Players must explicitly flag for combat by checking a blue shield icon near their character name and remaining stationary for 15 seconds to signal their intent to engage in PvP. It's not forced upon you. It allows you to gradually engage into the world of PvP. Once a player is flagged for PvP, they become vulnerable and can be attacked by any other player, regardless of whether the attacker is also flagged or not. Though faction flag players adhere to a different set of rules, a significant deterrent to discriminate PvP aggression in yellow zones is the reputation system. Attacking an unflagged player while PvP flagged results in a loss of reputation. Accumulating too much negative reputation can lead to temporary exclusion from lower zone types or even the entire royal continent, effectively isolating the player until their reputation recovers. So see, the gankers that are out in the yellow zones, they're doing it at a risk. So they must be having a whole lot of fun, and it must be worth it to them to do such things. But it also helps introduce new players into the world of PvP. The consequences of defeat in yellow zones remains forgiving, even still. If a player's health points are reduced to 0 by another player, they are knocked down, not killed. This results in a 5% durability loss on equipped items, and a small amount of system-generated silver will also drop. But the player's inventory and equipped gear are never lost. Even instance content such as hellgates and corrupted dungeons found within yellow zones are designed to be non-full loot. Defeat in these instances merely results in a knockdown and removal from the dungeon. For enhanced situational awareness, the number of PvP flagged players currently present in a yellow zone is conveniently displayed in the bottom right corner of the screen, updating every 10 seconds, allowing players to assess potential threats and make informed decisions. Yellow zones serve as an excellent transitional area for players seeking a greater challenge for those looking to safely practice PvP combat before venturing into the high-stakes red or black zones. The design of yellow zones, with their knockdown-only PvP and higher-tier resources, strategically prepare solo players for the inherent risk and rewards of Albion's full loot zones. This graduated risk model allows individuals to build confidence, refine their combat skills, and understand player interactions in a controlled environment, making the eventual transition to more dangerous areas less daunting and overwhelming. These zones also offer access to a broader range of resources, with materials up to Tier 5 commonly sprawling. Players should also be mindful of unrestricted PvP subzones, such as treasure sites, which are clearly marked by a glowing yellow circle. Entering these areas automatically flags a player for PvP, allowing free combat unless players are faction flagged for the same city, excluding Carleon, of course. However, the death consequences within these subzones mirror the general yellow zone rules: knockdown and no loot loss. The resource tiers and enemy levels in safe zones. The Royal Continent, the starting point for all new players and characters of the game, is structured with a clear progression of zone types. Blue for 100% safe, yellow for mildly safe. You can engage in PvP, but you don't lose much, including you don't lose your gear. And red zones, which is your first introduction into full loot PvP. Red zones, you can still not run around flagged, but if another player chooses to be hostile, they can just come up and attack you. It's kind of fun if you want to police the area. You can run around not flagged and just instantly attack a red flagged player. If you lose, the winner gets your loot and your gear. But that's the introductory state. The Royal Continent, the starting point for all new characters, is structured with a clear progression of zone types. Blue, yellow, and red zones, as players venture from the outer regions, typically composed of blue zones, towards the continent's center. The tier level of available resources and the difficulty of encountered enemies generally increases the farther you go out. All zones, including both blue and yellow, consistently contain Tier 1 resources. These foundational materials, rough logs, rough stone, and scraps of hide, are essential for early crafting and progression. Blue zones are home to resources ranging from Tier 2 to Tier 5, and players will encounter enemies spanning Tier 3 to Tier 5. Yellow zones offer a wider array of materials with resources from Tier 3 all the way to Tier 6, but the Tier 6 are kind of rare, and enemies also ranging from Tier 3 to Tier 6. This tiered resource availability creates a direct incentive for solo players to progress from blue to yellow zones to access higher tier raw materials, especially Tier 5 and Tier 6. A solo player must venture into yellow zones. This design establishes a natural, risk mitigated progression path for gatherers and implies that the demand for higher value crafting materials will necessitate engagement with yellow zones, thereby influencing market dynamics and potential profits for safe zone based economic activities. Higher tier resources from Tier 4 upwards can also appear in various enchanted qualities. Uncommon is a point 1, a rare is a point 2, an exceptional is a point 3, and a pristine is a point 4. Like 4.4, 4.3, 3.2, 3.1. You get the picture. Gathering these enchanted resources provides increased gathering fame. It is important to note, however, that pristine resources are exclusively found only in the Outlands, which lie beyond the Royal Continent's safe zones. So, if you're wondering, blue zones offer Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4, and Tier 5. And the enemy tiers that you will encounter are Tier 3, Tier 4, Tier 5 on average. Yellow zones offer Tier 1 all the way to Tier 6 on the resource tiers available. And the enemy tiers available are Tier 3 all the way to Tier 6. A video wouldn't be much of a video if I wasn't killing something. Look how much experience. 1,760 experience in Ferndale, a Tier 4 blue zone. Way better than the freaking solo dungeons offer. So not crazy. I'm not complaining, I love it. This is why I hang out in Ferndale to grind my gear most of the time. It's safe. And sadly, it does better than most of the safe zone solo dungeons. You just do better open world. They wanted to make open world better. Well, they did. It made solo dungeons absolutely worthless. But anyway, look at this. There's a solo dungeon there, and a corrupted. I guess they brought the corrupted dungeon entrances. I'm glad they didn't because it's so laggy in that new Devil's Butt Crack area where the depths is located. That if you're on a weak system, you're gonna have a system overload. You're not even gonna be able to play. So I'm glad they put them back for slower system people. Oh, look at this. This is in the cracked earth area. And look, there's a little loot box up there. And he's kicking my butt. What in the hell? He stunned me like over and over and over. He's a little tier 3. Look how powerful this damn tier... Oh, my hell. Oh, you gotta be shitting me. Wow, damn horse. I didn't mean to get on that horse. Holy crap, I'm gonna have to get out of the way. He's kicking my butt. That's insane. A little tier 3 was beating the shit out of me. Wow. That's ridiculous. A tier 3? Really? I believe this is called a static area. I mean, this is the outside of a static area, but, yeah, that's insane. Yeah, I shouldn't die that freaking fast. That's nuts. Look how fast he auto-attacks me. Who is fighting me? Oh, it's him. Holy shit, I can't kill this dude. This is bad shit crazy. Look at this. I cannot kill him. He is destroying me. I can't get out of his way. Oh my god. This is insane. He's insanely stupid strong. That was insane. Holy shit. I was doing tier 5.2 and 5.3 solo dungeons in this outfit and just owning it. And then I come over here to a tier 3 newbie area. Oh my god, what's in this chest? This better be worth it. 2,000. Oh my god, that is so sad. Oh, hell. Okay, don't be negative. Don't be negative. Bite your teeth. Bite your tongue. Don't spit out anything that sounds like dung. Anyway, I'm going to go up here, and this is where I'm going to be. It's as good a place as any. If any new players come up here. Anyway. So what was I talking about? Oh yeah, safe zones and solo play. Economic pillars, mastering, gathering, crafting, and trade. For the solo player in Albion Online, economic self-sufficiency within safe zones hinges on mastering the interconnected disciplines of gathering, crafting, and market trading. These activities, while less lucrative than their high-risk counterparts, offer a stable and consistent path to wealth accumulation. Gathering, the foundation of your fortune. Gathering raw materials is the bedrock of Albion's economy. There are 5 primary gatherable resources, each requiring a specific tool for extraction. Wood, gathered with a wood axe. Stone, with a stone hammer. Hide with a skinning knife. And ore with a pickaxe. And also fiber, and you use a sickle to gather fiber. Understanding these pairings is fundamental to efficient resource acquisition. The following clarifies I just explained that. Optimal gathering strategies. To maximize gathering efficiency and profitability, several strategies are paramount in this game. Biome specialization. Albion's world is divided into distinct biomes, each with a primary, secondary, and tertiary resource. For instance, forests are abundant in wood, mountains are abundant in ores, the steppes in hide, swamps in fiber, and the highlands in stone. Concentrating gathering efforts in the biome best suited to a desired resource will significantly enhance efficiency. And I don't really like this area. Hotspots and enchanted nodes. Players should consistently monitor their local map for hotspots, which denote high concentrations of resources. Additionally, checking the enchanted percentage of a zone is crucial. Enchanted nodes, for example, 0.1, 0.2s, 0.3s, 0.4s, provide substantially more gathering fame, 2 times 150% and 3 times respectively for 0.1 and 0.2 and 0.3, and often yield more valuable materials. Prioritizing these nodes is key for accelerating progression and increasing profits. Gear and consumables. Equipping the highest tier gathering set affordable for a chosen profession is very vital, as these sets directly increase resource yield, which translates to more fame and materials. Furthermore, the consistent use of high-tier pies, food consumables, provides a significant boost to gathering yield, further optimizing your returns. Let's find another spot, shall we? There's a good place as any. Learning points. Learning points are strategic allocation of learning points, the LPs, to mastery tiers within gathering professions will rapidly unlock access to better tools and higher tier resource nodes, accelerating overall progression. Mounts. For safe zone gathering, mounts with high carry weight are indispensable. A Tier 3 transport ox, for example, is an excellent and cost-effective choice for new players, offering substantial carrying capacity for collected resources. Respawn rates. Lower tier resources, tier 2, tier 3, in blue zones exhibit remarkably fast respawn rates, sometimes reappearing within 30 seconds after depletion. This characteristic makes early game low-tier gathering highly efficient for quickly accumulating materials and fame. Fishing. Fishing, a relaxing path to riches. Fishing offers a tranquil yet profitable solo activity within safe zones. Players can catch either freshwater or saltwater fish, depending on the body of water they are near. Different tiers of fish, different tiers of fish are available across various zones, with higher tier fish found in more advanced yellow zones or within non-lethal mists, which are known to harbor unique fish types. To maximize fishing profits, consistently using bait and filling fishing journals is highly recommended. A single full fishing journal can yield a respectable 150,000 silver. For transporting catches, mounts like the stag, moose, or spectral dire boar are recommended due to their increased carry weight utility. Come on, get off there. I don't know why, but sometimes I can't get off my horse. Nice. We went up a level. How much did he give combat fame? Damn, he gave 1,264 silver and a tier 3 5 zone. Damn, he gave 6,295 fame in a tier 3 zone. That's awesome. Man, the open world is way better in fame than the solo dungeons. Even up to tier 5.3. That's sad. Yeah, that's so sad. But anyway. Crafting and refining. Turning raw into riches. Once raw resources are gathered, they must be refined into usable materials, such as wood into planks and hide into leather, or into metal bars, at specific refining buildings. These essential structures are conveniently located in all royal cities, or can be constructed on a player's personal island. But bear in mind, if you put one on your player island, there's a thing called resource return rate. And guess what you don't get no matter what tier level you level your crafting stations at on that island? You don't get RRR. So just bear that in mind. Refining process. Refining requires silver. Your silver, which is the game's primary currency, and players can utilize focus points to significantly increase the resource return rate and reduce costs. Focus points are accumulated daily, provided the player has premium status, and are absolutely essential for optimizing, refining, and maximizing profits. And what's going on here? uh That's funny. Leveraging city bonuses and focus points. A critical aspect of profitable refining involves understanding city-specific bonuses. Each royal city specializes in refining one resource type, offering a substantial resource return bonus. For example, Martlock excels in hide refining, Thetford in ore, Limhurst in fiber, Fort Sterling in wood, and Bridgewatch in stone. Refining in the correct city can dramatically boost your return rates, potentially reaching up to 30% without focus and an impressive 50% with focus being used. A common and highly effective solo strategy involves placing buy orders for raw materials in cities where they are inexpensive and then transporting them to the city with the refining bonus, utilizing focus points to refine them, and then transporting them, the refined products that is, to a city where they command a higher sale price. This is called flipping, and it's a strategy that can be exceptionally lucrative. Royal cities like Martlock give a refining bonus of hide and a crafting bonus in the axe, quarterstaff, frost staff, plate, shoes, and offhand. The Royal City Bridge Watch gives a refining bonus in stone and a crafting bonus in crossbows, daggers, purse staff, plate armor, and cloth shoes. The Royal City Limhurst, my home city, gives a refining bonus for fiber, swords, crafting bonus for sword, bow, arcane staff, leather, headgear, and leather shoes. Leather headgear and leather shoes, I meant to say. The Royal City Fort Sterling gives a refining bonus in wood and a crafting bonus in hammers, spears, holy staffs, cloth armors, and plate headgear. And the royal city Thetford gives a refining bonus in ores and a crafting bonus in maces, nature staves, fire staves, leather armors, and cloth headgear. Crafting your own gear at crafting stations such as the Warrior's Forge, Hunter's Lodge, the Mage Tower, and the Toolmaker are readily available in royal cities. These stations enable the creation of a wide array of weapons, armor, accessories, and tools. Engaging in crafting and refining activities grants crafting fame, which progresses a player's destiny board. This right here. This is your destiny board. Check it out. It's this little 4-ball destiny board icon over here on your screen. Anyway, you get crafting fame from crafting items in the game, and that progresses your player destiny board. And it unlocks the ability to craft higher tier and more specialized items. These items normally increase in value and are worth more. An interesting mechanic is studying, where an unwanted crafted item can be destroyed at a crafting station to gain additional crafting fame, which accelerates your progression. It's actually quite beneficial if you can afford it to study items that you're trying to level up in your crafting area of your destiny board. While crafting is truly supported in safe zones, it is important to be aware of the 1200 item power IP soft cap in these areas. This cap can significantly devalue higher tier crafted gear. For example, a 7.2 and an 8.3 for use in most safe zones content, potentially undermining the broader market for such high-end items within the royal continent. This means that if there is a limited demand for high-tier gear within a safe zone due to the IP cap, crafters will have less incentive to produce it for the markets, and gatherers will face reduced motivation to supply the necessary raw materials within those safe zones. And guess what? The IP just got nerfed in the yellow zones with the latest update. This effectively shifts the high-end economy and its associated progression out of the safe zones, potentially limiting the long-term economic viability for solo players who prefer to remain exclusively in the safe areas. It's bad for the economy to not lose your gear. I know it's not what you want to hear, but it's just overall bad. The game needs your gear to be destroyed. That's why in a full loot zone, a big chunk of your gear is trashed. So the looter can't even take it. That is to guarantee that items constantly need to be remade, and that gatherers and crafters will have something to do. It keeps the demand for such things going. So, got to keep that in mind. So, staying in the safe zones and not losing your gear is bad for the game. It truly is. Anyway, market mastery. Trading your way to wealth. The Albion online marketplace is a dynamic ecosystem where prices for raw resources, refined materials, and crafted goods fluctuate significantly between the different royal cities. These price discrepancies are primarily driven by the unique local refining and crafting bonuses each city possesses. transporting and flipping. It's a highly effective solo trading strategy, involves market flipping. This entails purchasing materials or items at a low price in one city and then transporting them to another city where demand and prices are higher and selling them for a profit. This strategy can be applied to raw materials, refined goods, or even finished products. Sorry, this freaking phone won't stop ringing. But anyway, the strategy, can be applied to raw materials, refined goods, or even finished products. This flipping can be a substantial source of income for solo players, especially with an investment in high capacity transport mounts like a winter bear. While a mammoth offers the highest capacity, its cost is often prohibited for most solo beginners. I've been playing for a year and I still haven't gotten one. I'm picky though. I could go buy one, but I want to get a baby, raise it, craft it, and then ride around and it says crafted by me. That's like one of my probably my next biggest goal in this game. Even for new players, though, focusing on gathering low tier resources, tier 1 through tier 4, refining them in the appropriate bonus city, for example, Martlock for Hide, and all the others I mentioned, and then selling them can generate millions of silver relatively safely. It is worth noting that even tier 1 resources like rough stone and logs can be profitable. I've done a video where you can make like a little over 100,000 silver in about an hour just picking up rocks, rough stone. I think, yeah, yeah. So anyway, uh, even tier 1 resources like rough stone and logs can be profitable, as their prices can fluctuate daily, offering consistent small scale gains, while trading within the Royal Continent safe zones is undeniably safer. And this is one reason why a lot of people get stuck in the safe zones. It is often described as a more tedious grind compared to the higher risk and exponentially greater rewards found in the black zone trading. But you can get a lot of good resources and then get killed and have all your loot taken away from you. And say you were out there for 2 or 3 hours and then you're transporting it back, you get ganked by a gank party and they take all your stuff, then you've gained nothing. That's one of the kind of the flaws in this game. It's not a flaw. It's called high risk, high reward for a reason. You can literally lose the shirt off your back transporting high value. But one of the flaws of this game, which I think is dumb, is that the game will allow you to click on a player and see what the value of their inventory is worth. And then you know instantly, ooh, this guy's carrying 30 million worth of stuff. Silver, let's kill him. And then this other person might not be carrying anything. And they'll leave that person alone. It's that part of this game's dumb. They should get rid of that. As a matter of fact, in a full loot zone, I don't even think you should be able to uh inspect your opponent. The element of surprise. Hello. I've seen other videos of YouTubers and they click on their target. Oh yeah, he's wearing tier 6, let's kill him. Oh yeah, oh he's wearing tier 8.4, let's avoid this one and run. Get rid of that, SBI. That would make full loop PvP way more rewarding, risky, and freaking exciting. I hate, I hate that you can examine a player's value, what loot they're carrying. That's total horseshit. Anyway, I'm getting off track here, but I'm dead serious about that. Get rid of that. That's just dumb. when you go up against another PvP player, full loot area, it should be a total surprise what they're wearing. The engagement should be a total surprise. The loot rewards, the amount, the value, all that should be a total surprise. That's one of the worst things in this game I've noticed. It's horrible. I've been thinking about it for months, and I'm like, this game would be a hell of a lot better if you couldn't examine other players in full loot areas. Anyway, yeah. So while safe zones offer a stable environment, optimizing economic activities within them demands strategic planning to counteract the inherently slower fame and silver gains when compared to lethal zones. This implies that to make safe zones economics viable and competitive, a solo player must be highly efficient and strategic. This efficiency is achieved through a deep understanding and consistent application of various optimizing factors, such as focusing on biome hotspots, prioritizing enchanted nodes, leveraging city refining and crafting bonuses, and diligently using focus points when they're necessary, because you don't get very many. They burn up fast. It takes 24 hours to get 10,000 of them. This highlights that the safety of these zones comes with a hidden cost: the necessity for meticulous optimization to achieve meaningful economic progression. Which goes to the next topic: combat and progression. A solo player in a player versus environment safe zones. For the solo player in Albion Online, safe zones offer a variety of player versus environment content designed to provide combat fame and a steady trickle of silver, albeit generally a lower rate than high risk areas. Open world player versus environment, roaming mobs, and dynamic encampments. Solar players can engage in combat within the open world of safe zones by defeating roaming mobs and clearing dynamic encampments. Most of my videos so far have been on this activity. These activities provide a consistent stream of combat fame and some silver. Notice I said some because it is a low amount. Roaming mobs, though they can present a challenge, offer serious amounts of fame, which is vital for leveling up equipment and honing combat skills. Dynamic encampments are temporary mob camps that appear randomly, typically in Tier 5 regions and above, and clearing them can unlock valuable loot caches. However, it is important to manage expectations. Open world mob grinding in safe zones generally yields little silver per hour and is considered a slow grind compared to the rewards found in the higher risk areas. Recent updates, including the introduction of item power IP soft caps in safe zones, our last update, the 6/30/2025 Abysmal Depths update to be exact, have drastically reduced clear speed and fame per hour in these areas, making them less efficient for progression, particularly for more experienced players. So yeah, even though the safe zone's got a heavy nerf, and even in your tier 8.4, there's a soft IP cap. You're not going to go fame farm as fast as you used to. But see, I've always used 5.4 gear, and people laughed at me. Why are you using that shitty 5.4 gear? Well, guess what? I haven't noticed a difference in my IP cap. My gear is still as effective now as it has been for the past months that I've been using it. So, who's the dummy now? I'm sorry, I don't mean to sound like an a-hole, but it's true. It's so true. So expeditions, instance adventures for soloists. Expeditions are instance PvE missions that offer a structured and completely safe combat experience. And I noticed they got rid of the expedition person here. You can do arenas now, but there's no expedition. Let's go to one. So as I was saying, expeditions are instance PvE missions that offer a structured and completely safe combat experience. I mean, you can still get knocked down and have a repair bill. They are accessed by speaking to an expedition master NPC found in the major cities, such as this one, Recruiter Parker in Limhurst. A significant advantage of expeditions is their safety. If a player is defeated, they are simply transported back to the most recent checkpoint without losing any gear, incurring only durability loss on their equipment. Solo expeditions are available in various tiers, including Journeyman's T3, Adepts Tier 4, and Experts Tier 5, each requiring a specific Reaver level unlocked by defeating creatures in the open world, and a minimum item power. These missions are relatively short, typically taking 20 to 30 minutes to complete, making them ideal for players who are short on time or not yet ready to venture into the more dangerous open world. Rewards include silver and combat fame, though generally less than what can be earned in open world lethal zones. A notable bonus is the Royal Sigil, awarded for the first expedition of the day. These sigils, combined with regular gear parts, are used to craft unique royal armors, each possessing its own special spell. And they can yield quite a bit of money. I think a tier 5 goes for like 50K or something like that on the market. So the expeditions, like a tier 3 expedition called the Curious Excavation, and I am not seeing this. Da 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 da. Trying to see where the names are. You got Cell Swords, these are groups. Cell Swords, Journeymans, Adepts, Experts. But they used to be called Tier 3 was Curious Excavation. Oh, these are the types. Like when you come over here and do, like, say I want to do an Experts individual. It doesn't tell you what you're going to get when you go in, but there's 6 different types of these expeditions that are random. Like tier 3 will normally spawn or put you in a Curious Excavation, which requires Journeyman's Reaver level. A tier 4 will put you in, one's called Fishy Business, another one's called Preaching to the Dead, and those require Adept's Reaver level. And then a tier 5 can put you in one of 3, Lumber Lunacy, Stone Wars, and Lurking Underneath. And those 3 require Expert's Reaver level on your Destiny board. So that's kind of fun to know. Another fun thing to do as a solo player are static dungeons, which is group content. It has solo potential, but it's really recommended for group parties, although you can solo parts of it and have fun. Static dungeons are permanent locations in the open world that lead to instance maps via a loading screen, such as this one right here, Heretic Cellar. That's a static dungeon. It will always be there. You can always, any time of the day, go here. And it's static. It never changes. It's always there. You go inside of it, and the mobs are placed in the same spot every time. You can just rinse, loop, rinse, defeat, repeat, just go in there and farm the crap out of it. There's several of these on the maps all over Albion. But that's what they call a static dungeon. A solo dungeon, or non-static, they pop up anywhere on the map. Those little cave entrances, like the corrupted dungeons ones and the solo dungeons, those are non-static. So anyway, while primarily designed for groups of 3 to 5 players, many of these dungeons can be successfully soloed. Like the one I just showed you, that's a tier 3 area, and it is soloable. I solo it all the time. There's a tier 4 one over there that has tier 5, and good luck with that one. I went in there with a 3-man party, and we got killed right off the bat, over and over, and I was wearing 8.4, but there is a soft cap in there, so your high gear gets lowered down to like tier 3 or tier 4 level, which kind of sucks. But anyway, however, attempting them alone often results in a loss of efficiency compared to group play. Soloing static dungeons, particularly when encountering rare enchanted bosses, yellow, orange, or red bosses, can yield significant silver, potentially millions from a single boss. Specific builds are highly recommended for soloing these dungeons, such as a Shadow Collar with high lifesteal, which can be effective even with tier 5.4 gear if fully specialized. A key limitation a key limitation for solo players in safe zone statics is combat fame progression. Weapon attunement mastery can only be gained up to tier 5 weapons. The progression beyond tier 6, players must venture into lethal zones. The 1200 IP soft cap in safe zones can significantly limit the effectiveness of high tier gear. For example, a 6 flat or plus, a 6 plus in these dungeons, potentially making progression feel stagnant for mid to high tier players who prefer to remain in safe areas. See, I don't like that. I don't like being forced into the black zones just to level up my gear past tier 6 or past tier 6. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. Another fun thing to do is go into the mists. It's a tier 6 yellow. This is a yellow region tier 5. So you can go into these mists, and there's lots of solo content in here. And looks like I haven't been in the mist since since the update. Because crap I've done 1,000 times before, I'm getting credit for all of a sudden on that journal. But anyway, this is fun. Oh, I thought I was going to find a trapped one real quick and free it. But I'm not seeing one. I mean, you can get knocked down in here and get a repair bill and get kicked out, but wow, where the hell am I? I hate how they just jump out of my attacks all of a sudden. But anyway, the mists, non-lethal, a glimpse of higher tier content. Now there's black zone mists that are full loot PvP, but this is one of the soloing safe zone areas. You access it by going into a yellow zone area and look for one of those little wisps, and they open up a portal like you just saw in the beginning. The mists are unique magical regions accessed by following curious will-o-wisps that randomly appear in blue, yellow, red, or black zones. Wisps found in blue or yellow zones lead to non-lethal mists, which are considered safe. In non-lethal mists, the death mechanic is forgiving. If a player is knocked down by another player or a monster, they are simply removed from the mist and returned to the open world. With no item loss, this characteristic makes the mist an excellent risk-free environment for practicing PvP and testing new builds against other players. See, The safe zones, especially the yellow zones, are to train you and prepare you to get ready for the full loot zones, the red and the black zones, the Outlands. The mists are teeming with mobs and cage wisps that offer substantial combat fame. Rarer mists provide even greater rewards, making them a prime location for leveling up combat skills and item mastery. Players should also keep an eye out for the rare monsters within the mists, as they can drop valuable rewards and items that can be sold on the market for significant silver. Beyond combat, the myths also contain unique fish types, for example, snappers, not found anywhere else. Players might even discover a portal to Brazilian, a unique city within the mists that offers direct, convenient access to mists content. While mists are offer good fame, the item power, soft caps, and the safe zones can still reduce clear speed and overall efficiency compared to uncapped zones. While safe zones offer diverse player versus environment content, including open world mobs, instance expeditions, and soloable static dungeons providing avenues for combat fame and some silver, a significant design element impacts long-term progression. The item power, IP soft cap, of 1200 in safe zones, coupled with the inherently lower fame and silver rates compared to lethal zones, creates a substantial progression bottleneck for solo players who wish to remain exclusively in safe areas. This means that once a player reaches a certain effective power level, further investment in higher tier gear or spec no longer translates into increased combat effectiveness or faster progression within the safe zones. This design choice effectively steers players towards engaging with lethal content if their goal is continued character growth and access to the highest rewards. This can lead to a potential point of friction, as it may alienate a significant portion of the solo and player versus environment focused player base who prefer a low stress experience. Community feedback and observed player data, such as a reported 10% drop in average daily players after this update imposed such caps, suggest that while the design might aim to encourage engagement with riskier content, it risks losing players who prefer to engage with the game on their own terms within the safe framework. This observation highlights a critical aspect of the game's evolving ecosystem and its potential impact on player retention and the overall diversity of the player base. So as a solo player that likes the safe zones, this latest update kind of put us put us on training wheels if you think about it. A lot of people are wanting to quit the game already, but I don't want to quit the game. Not yet. I'm still having fun in it. I mean, you got to remember this game is designed for PvP. The people who made this game, their goal was to make the best player versus player game ever made in the history of gaming. And I don't know, I think it has a ton of soloable, playability. I joined this game for the crafting. I love crafting in games. And I wanted to be like an elite crafter. I mean, I studied this game a little bit before I started playing it, and I was misled. I didn't know that your player island didn't get a resource return rate. For one, I didn't find this crap out till I was invested in over a couple of 100 million silver, and that kind of sucked. And But, I mean, I'm still going to use my island still has use. There's still times when it's beneficial to use my expensive ass crafting stations. But for maximum silver gain, you don't want to craft on your island. You'll lose 15% right off the bat of what you could have gained. But anyway, so like I was talking about my personal island, I thought my personal island would be my empire. My personal empire. My crafting and merchant empire. I wanted an island that I could do everything there and then leave to go to the surrounding markets to sell my goods. And I still can do that. I just will lose out on profitability, a resource return rate, and the city bonuses and all that jazz. One thing I did notice that my fiber crafting stations on my personal island do get the Royal City bonus, not the RRR, but they get that bonus percentage for fiber, refining fiber, and and the items that the city gets a bonus for. It is shared on my fiber crafting station, but the other ones get zero bonus, period. Now you can use your focus and get your focus bonus, but you're still going to miss out on that 15% city bonus, you know. You get a flat 15% bonus just for crafting on a player-owned Royal City crafting station, which I think is a bunch of horseshit. I don't care to use them. I tried to use one last night. Everybody had their shit at 900 to 999 silver cost. Every one of them, every one that I need for my hide refining was at 999, which is dumb because you don't even get a bonus for that city for hides, but whatever. But anyway, for solo players in Albion Online, a player island serves as a customizable personal hub, offering a stable and risk-free environment for economic activities and self-sufficiency. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, it does, but no RRR. Acquiring and upgrading your island. But islands are designed for growing crops and herbs on, and raising animals to be butchered, and raising animals to turn into mounts. That's it. That's where the money is. Oh, and your laborers putting houses there and then putting laborers in them and sending them out and then returning with resources every 22 to 24 hours. But crafting, there is zero intent from the developers for you to make a profit off your player island, the crafting stations that you put on there. Nope. You can do it. You just don't get any bonus. You want the bonus? You go to the Royal City and use a player owned crafting station. Other than that, you're free to do with it whatever you choose. But anyway, a player island can be purchased from the island merchant located in any royal city: Lyndhurst, Bridwatch, Martlock, Thetford, Fort Sterling, or in the unique cities of Carleon and Brasilian. To make the initial island purchase, a player needs at least 7 days of active premium status. However, once purchased, the island is permanently owned. Even if premium status expires, each island is intrinsically linked to the specific city where it was purchased, and players are permitted to own one island per city. Actually, you can have 3 players on your account, and each one of those players, characters, can have an island on each city, offering the potential for multiple specialized islands. Traveling between an island and its host city is always free, which is a significant convenience for transporting goods. The level of an island directly determines the number of multi-purpose plots available for construction. For instance, a level 1 island looks like I got kicked out. For instance, a level 1 island provides one plot which can be developed into various farming types or buildings. Well, it looks like the gankers are still alive and well in Uwood, Yellow Zone area. Oh, I love it. So, just go to a royal city if you want that 15% crafting bonus. And these are all the crafting stations. See, in Limhurst, fiber there's a refining bonus for fiber. So look at all the weavers. But I was needing to, do some low grade hides. And look, 900. You can click on what you want to see and it'll show you every one of them on there. 988 and 900. That's stupid high. Don't use any station that is that damn high. You will not get any, you will lose your profits right off the bat. So anyway. So farming and cultivating your own resources. On an island's multi-purpose plots, various farming structures can be constructed. Farms for growing crops, example, carrots and pumpkins. Herb gardens for herbs, examples, brightleaf, comfreys. Pastures for raising livestock. Chickens, cows, and some mounts. Horses and oxen, and kennels. Such as this. This is a kennel. I like to raise mounts. Such as, kennels for specific riding animals like dire wolves, oxes, mammoths, whatever, And then saddling. You come over here to saddle the animals you have. I'm finally at level 100 in this. Excuse me, so I can saddle anything I want pretty much. And, yeah, it's a lot of fun. So crops and herbs, crafting. So you can craft on your island.
What you want?
You can craft anything you want. I need to level that one up to tier 8. This one's tier 8.
Hello, dear.
So you can have your own little industrial hub here. You just won't get a 15% resource return rate. That 15% bonus. But you can still do it. Ain't nothing gonna stop you from doing it here. But your island's a wonderful drop-off. I've got boxes upon boxes, crates upon crates of resources. Loot, items. I love those army crates. You can drop those anywhere on your island.
Deadly weapons.
But yeah, I mean, I've invested a ton of money into my personal islands.
You make an excellent
but I won't lie, I did not know about the resource return rate thing until after the fact. So to begin farming, seeds must be acquired, either from farming merchant on a level 2 island or from the marketplace. And that guy is right over here. Every island has this little merchant. Now, sometimes you can get the seeds cheaper in the Royal City marketplaces. But 9 times out of 10, they're about the same price. But you buy your seeds here. You could buy your butcherable animals here. And some mounts. Some of these you can raise, like your oxes, your horses. They're basic mounts, but you can buy those here and raise them. And you can buy decorations for your island from this guy as well. He's got a basic amount of decorations. You can go to the city market and find rare decorations and instance drop decorations and loot drop, decorations. And that's pretty sweet.
Isn't this beautiful?
But your island is primarily designed by the developers for this growing crop. So anyway, plants have a consistent 22-hour growth cycle. A crucial mechanic for profitability is using focus points to water the plants, which guarantees a seed return at 100+%. If you don't use focus, you average between 91 to 93.33%. But anyway, using focus will guarantee seed return upon harvest. This ensures self-sufficiency and eliminates the need to constantly buy new seeds, significantly boosting your profits. Harvested crops can then be sold directly on the marketplace or used as ingredients for crafting food and potions. Now, mind you, you probably won't see any profit on your island until the crop you're growing, you get that puppy to, let's say, like a crop farmer. Right now I'm growing herbs. So you want this down here to be level 100 because see, I get a plus 9,000 specialization bonus to focus cost efficiency. So it's only going to cost me 750 fame or focus versus, see, this one, since I'm level 1, I get a plus 200 bonus. So with a plus 200 specialization bonus at level 1 in this specialization, it costs me 1,263 fame per little square. There's 9 squares on a garden plot or an herb plot. And that's the cost per little square. So your 10,000 focus gets burned up fast. But if you can get that puppy up to, I don't have one at level 100, but I got one at level 45. See, now it only costs me 750 focus points. See what I'm getting at? The less focus points used, the more you can water and the more money you'll make on your island. So yeah. So anyway, livestock and mounts are the animals placed on pastures or kennels. They require feeding to grow. Livestock like chickens, goats, and cows have a growth cycle of 1 day and 20 hours, which is halved to 22 hours with active premium status. So if you got premium, it's 22 hours. Without premium, it's 1 day and 20 hours. Once fully grown, these animals can either be butchered for meat and hide, or continuously fed for secondary products like eggs and milk, and I believe butter. Similar to plants, using focus points when trending to animals increases the chance of them producing offspring, helping to maintain stock without additional silver investment. Mount raising. Various mounts can be raised on an island. Basic mounts like horses and oxen can be purchased as babies from the farming merchant, while other baby animals like dire wolves and winter bears must be acquired from players or as rare loot from wild animals in the open world and such. Higher tier mounts take longer to grow. Yeah, some of them take a week. So, yeah. Once fully grown, mounts can be saddled at a saddler building, another island structure, and then used for personal travel or sold for profit. Local production bonuses. Each royal city provides a 10% yield bonus for specific vegetables, herbs, or for butchering certain animals. This means strategically linking an island to a city with a bonus for a chosen farm product can further enhance your profitability. Workers. Passive income generation. Workers are a standout feature for passive income on a player's island. As a solo player, journals can be filled by engaging in various activities, gathering resources, crafting items, or killing mobs. These filled journals can then be given to island workers. After a set period, the worker returns with the items that are almost always worth more than the journal itself, providing a consistent and hands-off stream of silver. To maximize the efficiency and returns from the workers, their happiness needs to be ensured by providing appropriate housing, beds, tables, and corresponding trophies. For example, gathering trophies for a gathering worker. Trophies are specific to the type of worker you're dealing with. However, achieving maximum worker happiness is typically only possible in a guild hall, not on a personal island. For solo players, mercenary journals filled by killing mobs are generally not recommended, as they pay out the least of all journals by a large margin. Focusing on gathering or crafting journals is more effective. Why the hell SBI doesn't fix this issue with these laborers, these workers, these laborers, is beyond me. It just validates what I was saying earlier about I don't think they want you really making any silver in this game. Players that have been playing this game for a long time have told me that you used to could make a lot of money in this game off these personal islands and these games, and everything's been nerfed. Everything has been IP capped. Everything has been soft capped. Everything's been extremely restricted. You can still profit off of it, you just can't profit nowhere near like you used to could. I personally don't like dealing with these laborers. I find the amount of money they give me to be really totally insignificant. Now, other players may argue with me and say, oh, well, you're not focusing on them 100%. And they're right, I am not. I've played with them up to tier 6. I had some tier 8 ones. I don't know. I'd rather grow crops, to be honest with you. I'd rather grow crops. But that's just me. You may like these guys. I heard that PvPers that don't care about farming and all that, this is their preferred choice of, a steady income of silver, with minimal maintenance. But anyway, it's pretty cool nonetheless. But you click on one of these, this guy's gone, but see, Thomas isn't here right now, but guess what? I can still buy these journals. See, all these he only goes to tier 6, so I can only buy up to tier 6 journals off of him. If I drop the tier 8 guy in here, he needs to be in a tier 8 building, though. That's the only thing. You can only drop a gatherer or laborer into the building has to match the tier level that the gatherer, the laborer is. This is a tier 6 building, house, so I just put tier 6 drops in them. I have a tier 8 in the middle, but I don't feel like putting any gatherers in there. I pulled them out. I dropped them in here. See? This guy's contract. You could pull your gatherers up and they turn into contracts. You just drop them in the storage. But I had this guy in there, gamekeeper contract, but wow. Was I disappointed in that guy? Big time. I figured I'll just have him go get tier 8 hides and stuff and bring them back. Well, I can't go get I can't fill the tombs, so I was buying them, and not the tombs, but these filled journals off the market. Look at that, 175k. He was bringing back barely 100k worth of shit. I was losing money, and I'm like, well, hell. So you gotta go fill those journals yourself if you really want to make any money. So I just thought I'd share that with you. But island benefits and considerations for solo players. Player islands are a cornerstone for solo safe zone players, offering consistent risk-free income through farming and workers, and providing personal crafting and refining stations. This makes the island a central hub for stable, safe income and self-sufficiency. The benefits One of the most compelling advantages of player islands for solo players is the ability to generate risk-free profit. Unlike open world activities, there is no threat of losing gear or resources to other players. Islands provide invaluable storage space. That's what I use mine for more than anything, is storage. Provide invaluable storage space through buildings like houses, which can contain chests. This helps solo players manage vast inventories of resource and crafted items, reducing reliance on limited city bank space. See these army crates right here? Army crate disciples of Morgana. They store a buttload of stuff. And the weight, 24,296 kilograms. I mean, I got 246 million just in this one alone. And it's full. But you can pick these up as long as there's nothing in them and drop them anywhere you want. Pretty much anywhere. You can fill your whole island up with those army crates. Now, granted, they're about $4-6 million a crate, so they're not cheap. But I love them. Like, I put all my raw resources in here when the sucker's full, which it almost is. See, I got 3.4 million in there already from crap I've just been gathering. And, yeah, when I have what I call my refining day, where I'm just going to go refine and not do anything else, I'll get my mount that carries the most, and off we go to the city that has the refining bonus for whatever it is I'm refining. But anyway, that's fun. You just gotta strategize. And like in this house here, see all these chests. They're all full of goodies. Storage, loot, crafted crap, crafting items, refined products, treasures, mounts that I haven't, animals I've raised that I haven't turned into mounts yet. I mean, your player island this is probably its most valuable thing, is storing resources and loot. I love it. But yeah, uh, invaluable storage space through buildings like houses which can contain chests. This helps solo players manage vast inventories of resources and crafted items, reducing the reliance on limited city bank space. Building personal crafting and refining stations on an island is a significant economic boon. This allows for cheaper crafting and refining by avoiding the often high taxes imposed by city plots, directly increasing profit margins on crafted goods. By cultivating resources through farming, players can reduce their reliance on the marketplace for essential consumables and crafting materials, leading to greater self-sufficiency and saving silver. The island's robust permission system allows a solo player to precisely control who can access their island and what activities they can perform. By default, only the owner can enter, ensuring the absolute safety of items, houses, crops, and animals. And that, oh my gosh, come on! See, you got this treasure box here too, and it's full of crap. Damn, 24 million. But that one's the same one that's shared in the Royal City Bank. But yeah. And then, for permissions, you come click on this thing, access rights. And from there, you adjust your settings. So anyway, that's fun. Lots of fun. And some of these islands are just beautiful. So, considerations. It is crucial to understand that islands are not a get-rich-quick scheme, like I initially thought when I started playing this game. They are described as a long-term investment with an incredibly stable and significant daily payout. Planting crops and herbs and animals. You're farming. You're farming. To be truly profitable, they require consistent daily or every other day engagement. This means that while the income is safe, it is not immediate. And patience is a virtue. And it requires a steady investment in silver. I have spent almost 50 million in silver buying seeds and animals and blah 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 just to level up my destiny board to try to get the focus cost down to I think it's 6.1% or whatever to stretch my focus out so I can make a profit off of it. So yeah, patience is a virtue. Players should expect to invest 2 months of daily play or more before they make back all the money they spent on their islands. The initial cost of the island itself. That's before building any structures on it. Uh, yeah, on the building purchase, buildings, furniture, and workers. This sets realistic expectations for a sustainable, low-risk income stream that rewards consistent effort rather than burst activity. While only initially requiring premium for purchase, premium status becomes almost essential for maximizing farming and worker profits, creating a soft pay-to-optimize dynamic within the safe zone economy. The initial 7-day premium requirement for purchase is noted. Premium is also required to accumulate focus daily for refining. Furthermore, premium doubles crop harvest and halves mount growth time, making it highly recommended for maximizing farming profits. This demonstrates that while the island itself is a permanent asset, unlocking its full economic potential, particularly for farming and refining, is heavily tied to having active premium status. This creates a subtle pressure point for solo players aiming for optimal efficiency, as they will either need to earn enough silver for premium or acquire it through other means. Whip out your credit card or your debit card. Swipe, they call it swiping, which is a broader economic implication for the game's monetization model. Lastly, once purchased, an island can't be sold back or deleted other than deleting the character it was purchased with, emphasizing the need for commitments. So yeah. So the key takeaways for the solo safe zone player. For the solo player navigating Albion Online safe zones, a nuanced understanding of its mechanics and economic realities is paramount. The journey within these low-risk areas is best characterized as a marathon, not a sprint, offering consistent but generally lower rewards compared to the high-stakes lethal zones. Balancing activities for sustainable progression is needed. A truly successful solo safe zone experience in Albion Online is not achieved by focusing on a single activity, but rather by skillfully blending various economic and combat pursuits. While individual activities like open world mob grinding might offer limited silver and fame per hour in isolation, integrating them into a larger economic loop that includes refining and strategic market flipping can create a much more lucrative and sustainable income stream. Expeditions provide a consistent and entirely safe source of combat fame and valuable royal sigils for crafting unique gear, making them an excellent complement to open world PvE. The non-lethal myths offer a unique blend of combat fame, some rare resources, and a safe environment for practicing PvP without the risk of losing your gear. It allows solo players to gradually build confidence for future ventures into the riskier content. understanding the IP soft cap and its impact. The 1200 IPM power IP soft cap in blue and yellow zones is a critical design element that every solo player must understand. This cap means that once a player's gear reaches a certain effective power level, approximately tier 5.1 to be equivalent, investing in higher tier gear like 7.2 and 8.3 will provide no further power advantage in most of the safe zone content. Now you know why I wear 5.4. You only need 5.1 to maximize the IP soft cap efficiency. This cap means that once a player's gear reaches a certain effective power level, approximately tier 5.1 equivalent, investing in a higher tier gear like a 7.2 or an 8.3 will provide no further power advantage in most of the safe zone content. Combat effectiveness will be capped, regardless of how expensive or high tier the equipment is. This cap can halt natural progression for players who enjoy improving their builds and leveling specs within safe environments. It also undermines the economy for higher tier crafted items as there is less demand for them within the capped zones. So, the design choice, which limits power progression in safe zones, implicitly encourages solo players to eventually transition into the higher risk content. The game structure, with its higher rewards in lethal zones and the IP soft cap in the safe zones, functions as a clear signal that for maximum character progression and access to the most lucrative opportunities, players will need to venture into red and black zones where no such caps exist and full guild power can be utilized. But still, most players do not want to take their 8.4 gear into a full loot zone only to lose it. That crap is expensive, and I don't care. A player that's good at PvP can be wearing flat 6 and kick a player's ass wearing 8.4 and then get a couple of 100 million reward. I mean, if he's wearing a full set of 8.4, the cost is anywhere between 150 mil to 200 million for a full 8.4 outfit, depending on what it is. So it's stupid expensive. And SBI, I'm going to tell you this just from my own playing experience. The cost of the high gear is stupid expensive. No one wants to lose that. Only the people who have control of those 8.4 areas who can make that crap for free are the ones who don't mind risking it. The players like us meager little low-level players, the safe zone warriors, or crafters, whatever, they don't want to lose that. Yeah, you can go do all this in flat 6, but guess what? There are gankers out there that are wearing 8.2, 8.3, and I've seen some in 8.4. They're really badasses, and they'll own you fast. I got plenty of videos of me getting my butt kicked in the black zones. Anyway, but still, that's where the developers, that is the desire, that is their goal, is to get everybody out there in the full loot zones. So the long-term investment, which requires patience and specialization, thriving as a solo player in Albion Online safe zone areas, particularly from an economic standpoint, is fundamentally a long-term endeavor. Activities like developing a player island, managing farms, and utilizing workers requires consistent daily engagement over several months to become truly self-sustaining and highly profitable. Rather than attempting to master every aspect of the game simultaneously, specialization in one or two gathering or crafting professions combined with strategic market play leveraging city bonuses and transportation will prove far more effective for consistent income generation. The tension between a solo player's desire for safety and the game's design, which subtly nudges players towards riskier content, creates a potential point of friction that could impact long-term player engagement and the diversity of the player base. Community feedback and observed player data suggests that the IP cap punishes mid-core and solo duo players and might be alienating some of the players who used to stick around, especially solo and PvE players, are now quitting the game. This indicates that while the design may aim to encourage a certain type of player progression, it risks losing players who prefer to engage with the game on their own terms within the safe framework. This is a critical observation about the game's evolving ecosystem and its potential impact on player retention and the overall health of the player base itself. While safe zones provide an invaluable low-risk entry point and a solid foundation for new players, it is important to recognize that the absolute highest rewards, the fastest progressions, and the most thrilling content in Albion Online remain exclusively in the lethal zones. Safe zones are a fantastic starting point and a reliable base for consistent income and skill development, but they serve more as a stepping stone than an ultimate endgame for power progression. And that is why it gets harder to make silver and progress in this game. It can be done. I mean, I've got many item sets to level 100 just by primarily doing safe zone content. But if you really want to experience the game for all its glory and for all the amazing high-end content, you got to get the hell out of the safe zones, girls and boys. You got to put on your thickest pair of pants and go to it. Find a group, find a PvP guild or group of friends that will party up and go do group content. And the bigger the group, the better. I recommend 20, 30-man parties myself. I've been in 10-man parties and we still got spanked. But yeah. And you can go solo the black zones. There's plenty of black zone soloable stuff. The Abyss or the Roads of Avalon. This video was about safe zone solo playing and its benefits and the negative aspects of it. So I hope you enjoyed my little show, my little presentation. And but that's pretty much everything you need to know about safe zone solo playing, blue and yellow zone, player versus environment, and the minor player versus player content available. And you can do tracking. Granted, it's tier 3. It don't go past tier 3 on the animals and the spike bosses you're hunting, but it's still fine. So anyway, that's it for my show. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something. So you kids be good, and if you can't be good at it. PvP, that is. Ha 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 ha. I just love this little lamp that I made. Isn't it cool? Ha 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 ha. You kids have fun. And I'll see you next time. Ha ha ha. Toodles.